I'm going to make a card using the Dovecote set. This was designed by Sharon Farr for Hobby Art. As you can see, there's so many elements that you can combine to make scenes, but they're all useful in their separate way as well. So I'm doing a quick and easy card, and I'm just using this little stamp. That's the main stamp from the Dovecote. Why I like this set, it can be used for all sorts of occasions, weddings, even sympathy or thinking of you, engagement, whatever you like. It's a very useful set. Right, so I've started by stamping my greeting. That's from the Scene It Sentiments. The next thing I'm doing is just using the leaf. This is actually from the other set, but you could use any of the patterns in here instead, but this is from the Summer Florals, and I'm just using that leaf to create a pattern on the background, and I just do that all the way over randomly so that it's like this. And then when I put my background circle on, it's ready for my finished greeting. Quite an easy one to do. If you haven't got a circle die, you can do it with a square or what have you. So that's the background done, or giving you the idea anyway. So I'm now going to use a circle die. This is watercolor card, and I'm going to use that main stamp that I was talking about. It's quite a fussy detailed stamp, which is lovely. So I'm just placing it onto my circle. Let's bring it down just a little bit. We'll have a bit more sky. And I'm using my press. So as usual, I'm using VersaFine because that will be waterproof when it's dry. And I'm just bringing that down onto the piece of watercolour card that I've cut out. There we are, perfect first time. Let's just get that out, move that to one side. Okay, so if by any chance it doesn't go to the end, just fill it in with your black pen. Now this is these are little flowers from the bottom of these are little flowers from the set, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do them at an angle, but I'm starting at one side and then I'm joining up, do them at different levels. If you haven't got room for another full one, which you won't have, just do it at a slight angle, and then you have that beautiful framing. Just put a fingerprint on there. That won't matter because I'm going to do a bit round the top as well. Now I could obviously use the same row of flowers to create a border, but you've got lots of other stamps in there as well. So for instance, the trees, if we just ink the top of the tree and turn that upside down, that's going to create a pattern. Okay, now this is the one that we used at the bottom, so we could use that one. And we've also got this little flower one. Let me just stamp it to one side, which is quite detailed. So again, you can just use this and you can just turn it any which way you like and just create a pattern around the top so that the foliage is coming into the scene. Okay, so leave that one to one side and just put my stamps to one side, turn that over so I've got a clean area, and here's one that's been left for a few minutes to dry. Okay, so I'm going to be using my clean colour. As you know, they're my favourite pens, but just for speed on this sky, I'm just using tumbled glass distress ink and a smoothie, or you can use a distress tool, and I'm just taking the whiteness of the card off. I'm doing it so lightly that it doesn't matter if it goes onto any area because I'm going to be colouring over the top. I will actually darken it up a bit so hopefully you can see it a bit better. The other way of working, of course, is with the pens. So here, if I just use a bit of, this is mid-green, and if I use a paintbrush, bring some water over, and if you're doing this technique, then keep a piece of kitchen towel to one side. So while it's wet, just bring the colour down. Haven't got enough on there, so just put the colour in and pull it down. So there we go, across there, and just move the colour. You can do that in the sky as well. There we are. So you get quite a gentle colouring. You can always darken it up if you want to, and just pulling the colour out to create you know, the grass. Again, let's have a different green. There we are, that one will do me. This one is yellow green, so I'm just putting the colour on while it's still wet and just pulling it out. All I want is to get the whiteness of the card off. I may change that later anyway, but I just wanted to get some base colour on there on which to work. So I'm now going to start working on my background, and this is mid-green, so I can just put the colour in like this. I can use all sorts of green, and I can do tip to tip, so I can have them as dark or as light as I want to, and just build up my colours. With the mid-green, if I just put some colour over there, and then I'll use a lighter green just so that it graduates, it's not all one colour, and then just spend your time filling in the little ones at the edge with different greens, not all one green. And there you go. You can see how realistic it will look. So now I'm just going, again, I'm doing all the main areas. So I'm doing the grey there, and just doing the wall like that. And then I'm picking up just a wee bit of brown and just going in and just changing it so that it's not all one colour. While I've got brown in my hand, I'll go into the roof of the house and basically just carry on building up your scene. So now I'm doing the tip to tip technique. I want a mid pink, so I'm just going into these little areas. This would take me probably, because I enjoy colouring, it would take me about 20 minutes to do. So obviously we're just fast forwarding. Now these to me are sort of hollyhocks and that sort of thing, so we can put them up high, and we just add sort of colour. I'm obviously colouring a lot quicker than I would normally, but it's just to give you the idea of what you can do. The large areas like this, just put colour over, but then go back in and change some of it. You can even add berries and things in here if you want to, and do all the little leaves. If you're working in that area, just wait for it to dry for a minute or two after you've done the wash, and you can see quite quickly it's coming together. I wouldn't use just one colour, I would use a variety of colours. I would keep changing it so that you had all sorts of different greens, but I'm just showing you that you can get into the tiniest of areas and how quickly you can just build up a scene. There we are. Don't be scared of some white patches, and we're just going to go in here, and it's how you see it, whatever colours suit you. And here I'm just going to make that sort of a terracotta pot. If that's too bright, just go back in with a little bit of brown and pull it over, and just carry on. Different greens, And although I haven't quite finished that, you do get the idea of how your scene is going to build up quite quickly so that your finished item looks like this. Hope you enjoyed that one.